The Leominster City Council meeting is funded in part by the Carolus Insurance Agency. Council meeting is funded in part by the Carolus Insurance Agency at www.thecarolusinsuranceagency.com and by Avidia Bank at www.avidiabank.com.
Yes. Right. Greg wrote to her, right? Then she wrote to our clerk, and our clerk sent it to us. So I think is the progression of it all.
Take off the hood to get
Which is why clothes in order to get a stingray we can work on.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm running out of space though.
We've arrived at the appointed hour, I guess, according to my Apple phone.
Okay, good. Okay. 6:30. Okay, good evening, everyone. This is a public hearing before the City Council's Legal Affairs Committee. My name is Susan Shalfo-Zephyr. I'm the chair of the Legal Affairs Committee. Council Pauline Cormier is the second member, and then Councilor Robert Tossi from Ward 1 is the third member. So this hearing is on petition 9-26. Susan Shalafu Zephyr, Brandon Robbins, councilors at large, Ward 1 Councilor Robert N. Tossi, and 10 registered voters. Request to amend the zoning ordinance pertaining to MU2 zoning. So this has been referred, obviously, to the Legal Affairs Committee. We've given it further time. We had continued the public hearing to tonight from our last meeting, and we did that because we were waiting for the planning board. We had referred to the planning board. We were waiting for them. So I know that I think everybody here on the council got a forwarded note. I think the city clerk had forwarded a note from the planning director, and there was some question I think Mr. Lascotti raised with the planning director, and she was going to get a legal opinion based on what he had asked her about. So I did speak with the city solicitor, and he just advised me that, continue with the public hearing. It's open, we will continue it, and proceed as we would. So that's what we're doing tonight. So, petition 9-26, if there is anybody who would like to speak either in support of or in opposition to petition 9-26, you can certainly come to the podium. I'll ask for a second time. We will continue this. As you know, the planning board has continued this to 11/3. Yes.
Oh, hold on.
Name, absolutely.
My
Name.
name's Haley Brady. I live at 200 Harvard
The mic
Street.
on?
Oh, I don't think so.
We have a
How do you turn it on?
No, it's not on. Does anyone know how to
I'm
turn
gonna
it on?
need your technical expertise.
How do you turn it on?
Yeah, why don't you try that one? Does that have a button right there?
We'll make this efficient.
Thank you.
They're too advanced for us.
That one's on.
This
Yep.
one works.
Perfect.
Haley Brady, 200 Harvard Street. About this petition, I just really ask that all the counselors look at the density that
Yeah.
the changes have brought about. Because I'm going to be completely honest with you, I didn't catch it when you're talking about MU2 zoning, density requirements. I didn't really have a real world scope of what that looked like until this project came about. Seeing 308 units allowed in such a small area in so close to residential districts, your 50-foot buffers, that used to be a minimum that was required between residential districts. Now it's a maximum at the discretion of the planning board. So it could be less than that. And the density that got changed, I didn't catch it because those numbers are kind of foreign to me. No one really understands what that means. But the rest of the land that was changed under the zoning is now all subject to that. This parcel in particular, 17.95 acres, if the land allowed for it, I believe it's 408 units that would be allowed by right on that one parcel. The land doesn't allow for it because of wetlands, because of, various factors. But another 66 acres beyond this one parcel are now subject to the same density allotments. I implore all of you to really look into it because it's impactful. It's a huge change. So maybe do a little research, look into it, because it really matters. Thank you.
Thank you. For a second time, is there anybody in the audience in the public who would like to speak either in support of 9-26 or in opposition to 9-26? Certainly, sir. Come up, and this microphone is working.
Hi there. My name's Al Wenning. I live at 194 Ridgewood Drive, and I've been here since 2001. Certainly, Target wasn't there when I moved in, as well as Olive Garden. The rest of that development was not there. But I've seen over the years the traffic coming around Route 2 where U-Haul is, before the light. It's impossible to get around there. Coming up here, we'll see it soon, November, December. It's getting off of Route 2, getting on a Route 2. There's a log jam right there as well, getting on the Route 2 West, heading towards 190. Looks like there's space there to increase the traffic flow, but it's problematic, you know, not just for me, but for our neighbors and the rest of the community that's up that off of Harvard Street there. And unless there was some way to get, you know, any type of development is just going to make it worse. And if something was going to be done up there, I guess if that could be improved, that would probably benefit, you know, traffic at the very least. And I don't know, as far as developing 300 units, I don't think that's, you know, I don't know if we can stop it, but, you know, it's someone else's land. I can't say that I'm going to tell someone what to do with their land, but he's certainly got the right to develop it however they see fit. But it's definitely going to be, like she was saying, impactful on those that are already there, you know. And, but that's about all I had to add about the traffic. And thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, have a good.
Is there anyone in the public who would like to comment on petition 9-26? Okay, for a last time, is there anybody who'd like to comment on 9-26? Is there anybody on the council who has any questions or wants to comment? Council Frida.
Just a comment. About 3 or 4 meetings ago, I asked that we have the planner, Mr. Souza and Joe Boyle from MRPC. Are we going to have them down here? Because I think they're the ones with the answers that we should have.
Yes, they were going to come tonight, but when we needed to continue it because the planning board had continued their hearing, they'll come to probably the 27th. No, maybe the 10th. We will continue this public hearing to the 10th. The planning board has their public hearing continued to the 3rd. So I would expect if the planning board makes a decision or takes some action on the petition at their 11/3 meeting, then I would imagine we'd have everybody down on the 10th for the public hearing.
Why are we not having it before? Why, is there a reason we can't get those answers beforehand?
No, it just made sense that, you know, have them down once we have most of the information in hand.
I think we should have had them down so that we could clear up all this question about the housing committee, because I think that's not accurate, and I think there's a lot of discussion that could be had with Joe Boyle, because he was the one that was orchestrating it. So I thought that was pretty important to have him come down, because nobody seems to understand where that whole situation goes.
I think those are all outstanding questions, Counselor, and we will definitely have Mr. Boyle down, Mr. Souza down, the planning director, you know, and anybody else. I can't remember who else was on the list, but we had a list of people that we would be inviting down to answer all of those questions.
I just think from August to October, we could have had them down here. It would have helped a lot in getting some of the answers that we need. I don't think we needed to wait for the planning board.
Okay. Are there any other counselors that have any questions or? Okay. With no additional questions, my recommendation to keep the public hearing open. We need to set a date. And we'll do that, I guess, when it comes up on the agenda.
Good.
So
Okay.
recommendation is to keep it open.
Very well.
Thank you.
And we have 11 minutes to spare till the next hearing.
Okay.
Yep, me too.
All right, that's a minute behind. I'll hold with the other sheets. Okay. Good evening.
Okay. Good evening. This is a public hearing before
The Legal Affairs Committee on, let's see.
No, it's back on. Okay. This is a hearing before the Legal Affairs Committee on petition 16-26. My name is Sushila Fusefa. I'm the chairperson of the Legal Affairs Committee. Councilor Robert Tossi from Ward 1 is a committee member as well as Pauline Cormier, Ward 2 councilor. This is petition 16-26, Mark C. Bedanza, Ward 4 councilor. Request to amend section 13-77, stop signs of the Leominster Municipal Code by adding a stop sign for eastbound traffic on Gevry Circle at the intersection of Gordon Street. So this has been before the Legal Affairs Committee. We had a public hearing that we we gave it further time. The public hearing is tonight. And we did refer to the Leominster Police Department. So I will go to the council. Is there any council that has any questions on this, on petition 16-26? Yeah. Is there anybody in the public who has any questions on petition 16-26? For a second time, is there anybody who would like to weigh in on petition 16-26? And for a third and final time, would anybody like to comment on petition 16-26? All right, seeing no public comment or questions or council questions, my recommendation would be to close the public hearing. We did get a referral from the Leominster Police Department, which I can read into the record when we get to the petition on the agenda, but at this point, my recommendation is to close the public hearing.
Okay, very well. In 3 minutes, we'll conduct the public forum and go to that. Right on schedule, or ahead of schedule.
Good.
I can't believe October's already over. Oh my goodness gracious. Where did that month go? October goes by quick. Yeah. And we're going to conduct the public forum. The public forum is an opportunity for any member of the audience to speak on a matter specifically listed on the council agenda. Speakers will be asked to come to the microphone and state their formal name and address, along with identifying the specific item or items they wish to address. Each speaker is respectfully asked to keep their comments within a 2-minute time frame. The council will not be responding or answering any questions. However, at the discretion of the council president, clarification may be given. We don't have anybody that's formally signed up, but is any member of the audience that wishes to address the city council on an agenda item this evening? And for a second time, is there any member of the public that wishes to address the city council on an agenda item this evening? And the third and final time, is there any member of the public that wishes to address the city council on agenda item this evening? Seeing none, I will declare the public forum closed, and we will begin the council meeting at 7 o'clock in about 5 minutes.
I'll check and see how many BTUs it
We're
is.
on a roll tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I'll take a roll call of the councilors in attendance, starting with Councilor David Cormier.
Present.
Councilor Pauline Cormier.
Present.
Councilor Arndinger.
Present.
Councilor Noseworthy.
Present.
Councilor Tossi.
Present.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Present.
Councilor Robbins.
Present.
And Councilor Frida.
Present.
And I'm marked myself present. All 9 members of the city council are in attendance. Does the chairwoman of records have a report?
Mr. President, I'm going to request more time on the minutes, please.
Okay, that may be done. And we'll move on to communication. I'm sorry.
My microphone keeps going on and off. I don't know what the problem is, but,
Want to push this over here so we can share?
no, that's okay. I'll see if it stays on.
All right, we'll play it by ear.
Okay.
I was told to use the button at the bottom to turn it on if that happened or something like that, which I did
Reset.
successfully.
Like
Because I couldn't turn,
Underneath?
yeah,
Underneath.
Oh, underneath, okay.
I couldn't turn mine on at all
Okay,
the last time we
mine
were
just
here.
keeps going in and out, so it's staying on now, but
All right.
All right, thank
Well,
you.
we can hope and pray.
I'll try.
All right, communications from the mayor.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $250,000 be made to the police department overtime account, the same to be transferred from the stabilization fund.
C-22 is referred to the chairman of finance.
First time on the calendar, Mr. President, regular course.
C-22 has been given regular course. C-23.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $25,000 be made to the Department of Public Works Highway overtime account, the same amount to be transferred from the stabilization fund.
C-23 is referred to the chairman of finance.
Regular course.
C-23 has been given regular course. Moving on to C-24.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $50,000 be made to the Fire Department ALS Services overtime account, the same to be transferred from the stabilization fund.
C-24 is referred to the chairman of finance.
Once again, first time on the calendar, regular course.
C-24 has been given regular course. And finally, C-25.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $250,000 be made to the Fire Department Public Safety overtime account, the same to be transferred from the stabilization fund.
And C-25 is referred to the chairman of finance.
I'll ask that you refer this to the clerk of finance because I will be abstaining from this. I have an immediate family member on the fire department.
Very well. I think that is Ms. Cormier.
Thank you, Mr. President. First time on the agenda, regular course, please.
Very well. C-25 has been given regular course. We have no petitions first time on the agenda. Matters before the city councils. Does the chairman of finance have a report?
Yes, Mr. President, we began the fiscal year on July 1st, 2025. The stabilization fund had $24,130,697.77. We've earned in interest $131,623.30. Pending all of the appropriations that were already approved and the ones that are on there for the first time tonight. If they're all passed, we will have spent $2,077,000, and that'll leave us with a balance of $22,185,321.07. The capital stabilization fund, we began with a balance of $4,593,191.62. We spent, right when the fiscal year began in July, $2,261,190. That leaves us with a balance of $2,332,001.62. And also for the opioid stabilization fund, we began with a balance of $577,545.87. We will have spent $248,144.11 from what we've spent prior, and including the two that are on there tonight. And that will leave us with a balance of $329,401.76. And that is the financial report.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to finance. And C-18, is the chairman ready to report?
Yes, Mr. President. C-18, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of an estimated $350,000 be made to the police department patrol salary and wages account, the same amount to be transferred from the collective bargaining expense account. This is regarding to fund the second year of FY 2026 of contract settlements from FY 2025 through fiscal year 2027 agreement. So basically, we settled the contracts with this particular union that we're talking about now with the police department. and we had extra money in the collective bargaining expense account, so we are going to fund those increases for this fiscal year from that account, and it'd be my recommendation that we grant this, and I'll ask that you check with members of my committee.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
I agree.
Councilor Tossi?
I agree.
You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-18. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-18, please recognize the usual manner. C-18 has been granted by a vote of 9-0. Does the chairman have an order?
Yes, Mr. President, order that the sum of $350,000 be made to the Police Department Patrol Salary and Wages account, same amount to be transferred from the collective bargaining expense account. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request to adopt the order. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the order, please indicate by saying yea. Yea. Anyone opposed? The order is adopted by a vote of 9-0. Moving on to C-19, is the chairman ready to report?
Yes, Mr. President. C-19, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requested an appropriation of $221,540.59 be made to the School Department expense account, the same amount to be funded by the fiscal year 26 E-rate revenue. Most of us that have been here for a bit know that we do this every year. This E-rate money is a grant that is basically a grant that is it's collected through communications, and then it's given by the state to cities and towns, and this is our portion of this year. So it'd be my recommendation that we grant C-19, and I'll ask that you check with members of my committee.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
I agree.
And Councilor Tossi?
I agree.
You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-19. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-19, please recognize in the usual manner. C-19 has been granted by a vote of 9-0. Does the chairman have an order?
Yes, Mr. President, order that the sum of $221,540.59 be made to the School Department expense account, the same amount to be funded by the fiscal year 26 E-rate revenue. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request to adopt the order. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the order, please indicate by saying yea.
Yay.
Anyone opposed? The order is adopted by a vote of 9-0. Moving on to C-20, is the chairman ready to report?
Yes, Mr. President. C-20, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $50,000 be made to the Montechusett Recovery Center out of the mayor's capital expense line in the general fund, the same amount to be transferred from the opioid stabilization fund. So I think I know that there's been some discussion in the past about what we're going to do with this money. I think Councilor Frieda had mentioned in the past, about sort of getting this money into the hands that's going to help people. And the mayor, I think, was trying to be, and his team were trying to be strategic, because I think everyone knows these funds are limited, and they want to make sure that they're put to the best and highest use possible. So we have a couple of appropriations tonight, C-20 being one of them. This one is going to the Montechusett Recovery Center. There's a letter that has been written, and I'll read it into the record. The city's use of opioid stabilization fund have been essential for Montechusett Recovery Center, which is MRC, as the only municipality supporting us with these funds, and among the few aiding standalone organizations. We greatly appreciate this ongoing support. We are excited to report that in the past year, with MRC's newly expanded Recovery Support Services, RSS, MRC now directly serves over 75 individuals with RSS, over half from Leominster, and welcomes more than 3,600 monthly visitors to the Peer Recovery Center on Carter Street. In collaboration with 5 other local agencies, MRC has also provided more than 9,000 transportation instances to and from the center as part of a transportation initiative partly funded by previous abatement funds. The Montechusett Recovery Foundation Corp's Board, MRF, respectfully requests a continued funding grant of $50,000 in abatement funds toward the following. MRC's RSS expansion has been essential to our agency in meeting the needs of those in our community who struggle with opioid use disorder and other substance use and mental health disorders, especially for those residents whose health insurance does not cover RSS, and that MRC provides free services to MRF MRF is requesting $30,000 toward continuing this effort. The Carter Street property has recently been acquired by a new owner, resulting in an increase in our space rent to 247% of the previous rate. This has been a significant challenge for our agency to meet, and MRC is requesting $15,000 to effect. Similarly, transportation expenses for our shuttle bus have risen substantially this year, with insurance costs now exceeding 200% of last year's amount. MRC is requesting the remaining $5,000 be appropriated to these costs. We sincerely thank the City Council, Michelle Nadeau, you, and the entire City of Leominster for this opportunity of continued support. If you are in need of any additional, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, Matthew B. Wright. So I think this letter gives a very good explanation of how desperately needed this funding is, and you know, $50,000. When you really read this letter, $50,000 is you know, really. I know it's a help. I know it's huge for them, but it's really probably not a lot. You know, it doesn't get them far, but it helps. So it'd be my recommendation that we grant C-20. And I'll see you check with members of my committee.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
I agree.
And Councilor Tossi?
I agree.
You heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-20. Is there any additional discussion? Councilor Shalfo Zephyr?
Through the chair, to the finance chair, I'm just confused a little bit. So it's $50,000 to the Massachusetts Recovery Center out of the mayor's capital expense line in the general fund, the same amount to be transferred from the opioid stabilization fund. I'm confused. Why would it come out of the mayor's capital expense line when we look at the opioid stabilization fund activities coming out of the opioid stabilization fund, which has plenty of money in it?
Yeah.
So I'm just confused about why would it come out of the the mayor's capital expense line?
I'm actually thinking, and you know, I had a discussion today with Jen, and I meant to ask her this question, and I apologize. I'm actually thinking that we don't need the mayor's capital expense line in there. I know we've taken, if you remember, there's been other expenses that we've given to the we've paid back the opioid stabilization fund because he spent money out of this line in the past. And I think that line probably got put in here, and it shouldn't have, because I believe it is coming all directly from the opioid stabilization fund to pay this. So honestly, I feel comfortable if you want to make an amendment and strike that. I don't think it's a problem, because it's all coming out of the opioid fund, not the mayor's capital expense line.
It looks to me, I agree with you, it looks to me like it's coming right out of the opioid stabilization fund. So I don't have any problem with the transfer, with that, or the expense. It just, this was really confusing. I thought, okay, this is very confusing. Why are we taking it out of a capital expense line, putting it, it just made no sense. So I would be happy to make, is that, appropriate to make an amendment to strike that section of the request out of the mayor's capital expense line in the general fund?
You can make that motion.
Okay, I'll make that motion to strike that language.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion on the motion to amend?
I'm just kind of confused as a matter of procedure, because the mayor has requested it to come out of the regular fund, the stable, and it looks like it's being paid for and then being reimbursed, if I read this right, which may be a technical issue, but...
On the opioid stabilization sheet that we just got, it's coming out of there as a clean transfer.
It shows that.
And there's plenty of money, so that's why I was confused about that extra language of the mayor's capital expense line.
I think the finance chair's explanation is that in prior transfers, I could remember where they were reimbursing the mayor's capital expense line.
Yeah.
Right, because he took it out of, because, for example, the signs that they bought that are all over town, 988, called 988, I explained he was buying those signs one way or the other. So he was taking it out of his capital expense line.
Right.
And if we didn't want to repay his capital expense line with the opioid money that we were allowed to use for, then he was just going to say, okay, then just coming out of there, and it's going to stay that way. So I don't think the mayor's capital expense line belongs here. I think it might have gotten copy and pasted from another, his office might have copy and pasted this thing from another request from the past, and it probably does need to be deleted.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the motion made and seconded, yeah?
Anything else, Council Arndinger?
In the example that the Ward 3 counselor made, he had mentioned that with the 988 signs, he paid for them initially
Right.
and then came to us for a reimbursement. I think the finance report is kind of convoluted. It really doesn't make much difference. It's all,
'Cause-
ultimately, it's coming out of the opioid stabilization fund, but it's just a matter of procedure. I think he's already probably paid for this.
I don't think he did.
Well, we don't know.
No, I don't think he not this, no.
No. The next one also comes
Yeah.
out of the same account, so you'd be talking about $85,000
Yeah.
out of the
No.
mayor's
Right.
capital
I think-
expense
I think-
account. I agree with the finance chair
Right.
that I think it's just a typo that hasn't been fixed.
Correct, yeah, and I feel comfortable striking the,
Worst case scenario, if we allow the motion, they'd have to send it back down.
Yep.
If it already came out of his capital line item, they'd have to send it back down, and we just ratify it by
Adding the
allowing him to.
language back, yeah.
Right.
I think it's confusing, yeah.
As I said, it was just a point of order more
Yep.
than anything.
No worries. No, it doesn't hurt to ask a question. Anybody else? All right, so we have a motion made and seconded to delete the language relative to the mayor's capital line item,
expense line, yep.
expense line item. All those in favor of the motion, please recognize usual manner. All right, so the motion has passed. And now we have an amended communication. And any additional discussion on the amended communication?
No.
All those in favor of the amended communication, please recognize usual manner. All right, that's passed by a vote of 9-0. Does the chairman have an order?
Yes, Mr. President, order that the sum of $50,000 be made to the Montechusett Recovery Center out of the,
To be transferred from.
sorry, to be, hold on, $50,000 to the Montechusett Recovery Center to be, same amount to be transferred to the opioid stabilization fund. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request for the adoption of the order. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the order, please indicate by saying yea. Yea. Anybody opposed? The order is adopted by a vote of 9-0. C21.
C-21, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $35,000 be made to the North Star Family Services out of the mayor's capital expense line in the general fund, the same amount to be transferred from the opioid stabilization fund. This is a pretty lengthy, pretty much a two-page explanation, and there's a couple of things that I'm just going to highlight that I think are important. Unless everybody wants me to read the entire thing. Otherwise, North Star Family Services, Inc. would like to apply to the Opioid Recovery and Remediation Fund to support our work of serving local homeless families with their children. For the past 23 years, North Star has been the sole provider of community-based and funded support to homeless families in the North Central region. The North Star Family Homeless Shelter, Bonnie's Place, offers emergency shelter 24 hours per day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, in a trauma-informed environment. Our shelter is a unique program that offers much more than a bed in which to sleep. The Malou is a structured community that is drug, alcohol, and violence-free to assist recovering parents in maintaining their sobriety. It also provides a safe, secure, and relaxed environment for children in which to thrive. It goes on to talk a little bit about the safety and security, just so people know what goes on. In terms of that, the shelter is locked 24 hours per day, and the main entrance is governed by an electronic fob system. No visitors are allowed in the building unless approved by the case manager. There are surveillance cameras to aid monitoring families' behavioral patterns that are located in all interior common areas, all shelter entrances and parking lot. We also have a house manager on duty during the overnight hours, 7 days per week. Our full staff team are on call 24/7 to the shelter for phone and/or on-site support. Funding over the past 3 or 4 years, we have lost some major funding sources such as the Emergency Shelter Grant, some banking institutions, as well as community foundations, eliminating some grant offerings. Support from the opioid fund would allow Bonnie's Place to continue to serve the growing family homeless population that is riddled with severe trauma, mental health, substance abuse, and housing challenges. The request is North Star would respectfully request funding to support the operations of Bonnie's Place. Some examples of these costs are utilities, staffing, insurances, client personnel needs, transportation, clothing, food, audits, bedding, fire alarm / sprinkler monitoring, etc. So the request for 2025 is $35,000, 2026 is $35,000, and it goes on to explain that North Star exists to keep families together and to help them obtain self-sufficient permanent housing, oftentimes maintaining sobriety, employment, and enhancing one's mental health. Much must be the focus to obtain a stable home. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, John Hope, President and CEO. So I think obviously we're starting out with $35,000 this year, and it would be my guess that probably next year we can expect the same out of this fund. Again, all good work and much needed, so it'd be my recommendation that we grant C-21, and also, once again, if somebody wants to make a motion, I firmly don't believe that this has been paid out of the mayor's capital expense line like past expenses have been. If somebody wants to make a motion, Mr. President, to delete that as well, and then we'll vote on that.
All right, let me get your committee's view. Councilor Pauline Cormier?
I agree.
Councilor Tossi?
I agree.
All right, did Councilor Shalfo, do you want to make that motion again?
Yep.
We have a second. Councilor Noseworthy. Any discussion on the motion to amend? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to amend, please recognize usual manner. All right, so that's been amended by striking out the mayor's capital expense line in the general fund. Any discussion on the amended motion? The amended order? Communication, let's try a third time. Okay, all those in favor of the communication as amended, please recognize usual manner. All right, the C-21 has been granted by a vote of 9-0 as amended. Does the chairman have an order?
Yes, Mr. President, order that the sum of $35,000 be made to the North Star Family Services, same to be transferred from the opioid stabilization fund. Move for the adoption of the order.
You heard the request to adopt the order. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the order, please indicate by saying yay.
Yay.
Anyone opposed? By a vote of 9-0, the order has been adopted. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moving on to legal affairs and 3-26.
3-26, Glenn Eaton, Executive Director, Montechusett Regional Planning Commission. Request to amend the zoning ordinance to replace Article 15, accessory apartments, with a new Article 15 that complies with recently passed state law and make other changes to implement the new ordinance. This was referred to the Legal Affairs Committee, referred to the Planning Board. We've given it further time. We continued the public hearing, and we continued the public hearing on this to 11/24/2025 at 6:20 p.m. Planning Board has also continued its hearing to 11/3/25. So my recommendation at this point would be to give it further time.
Further time. Councilor Tossi
I agree.
and Councilor Pauline Cormier.
I agree.
You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Legal Affairs Committee to grant 3-26 further time. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 3-26 further time, please recognize usual manner. Very well, 3-26 has been given further time with a public hearing before us on November 24th at 6:20 p.m. Moving on to 9-26.
9-26, Susan Shalafou Zephyr, Brandon Robbins, Councilors at Large, Ward 1 Councilor Robert M. Tossi, and 10 registered voters. Request to amend the zoning ordinance pertaining to MU2 zoning. Earlier this evening, we had a public hearing, opened it up. We heard a little bit of public comment on this. We need to continue the public hearing. My recommendation would be to continue the public hearing to November 10th, 2025. And then also, there was a recommendation that perhaps, to Council Frieda's comment, if you wanted to submit written questions, we can get those to either Mr. Boyle or the planning director or anybody else. If there's, people have questions that they'd like answered, we could put those out now in writing, and then when they come down to the public hearing, probably on the 10th of November, we could have some information already in hand.
Councilor Frida?
Yeah, in all due respect, I can call them and ask them, but I think it's important for the public to hear their answers.
Absolutely.
That was the point of having them down here and ask them the questions when they're here. I mean, I don't want to write, I can pick up the phone and call them, but that's not serving the purpose of telling the public what's going on here.
All right, so,
Well, I'll
But if
open that.
anybody wants to do that, that's their choice, but
Right, if
I just
anybody-
think, I just really think we should have people down here. This is important. I think we need to address it and let people know what's going on.
okay, couple things. I'm not really, I mean, we can schedule this on the 10th, but I'm not optimistic we're going to have a planning board recommendation for the 10th for a variety of reasons. But if you want to keep it on the 10th, that's fine. You know, that's your call. I don't think they're going to get back to us with a recommendation by then. I believe from a discussion today with the planning, with Ms. Wood, that they're not going to go forward on the 3rd because of the notice. But it's up to you. We can put it on the 10th.
I definitely want to put it on the 10th.
Okay.
I mean, I had a conversation with the attorney.
Justin Parada?
Yeah, with Attorney Parada, and I didn't see any reason, you know,
Okay.
he didn't see
All
any
right.
reason to slow down the
All right,
process,
so we have a battery storage item on the 10th as well at 6:25.
You do have that on?
Yeah, that's on for right now it's on before us on the 10th at 6:25, but if I'm not mistaken, I think the planning board put that one further out, didn't they?
I think
They
they
did.
put that out to December.
Absolutely, they did. I thought I saw December.
Yeah, so
I
when
was
we get to
confused.
that one, we probably
bump
should
it.
adjust that
12-1.
public hearing to our December meeting.
Okay.
So we're wide open, that means we're wide open on the 10th. Yes, Councilor Freeman?
And I spoke with the planning director as well.
Yeah.
And I think she was talking about possibly suggesting giving that leave to withdraw in the battery storage and putting a committee together,
Okay,
you know, to work on all the, because there's so much involved in it.
okay,
That
that's good to know.
She didn't say for sure whether they were doing that.
Okay.
But I think there was going to be a suggestion.
But it won't
to
be
the
ready on the
planning board.
10th by any means, so. All right, so what time would you like on the 10th?
I'd say 6 o'clock.
All right, so 11:10, 6 o'clock, and obviously further time.
Yes.
Councilor Tossi, you okay with that?
I agree.
Councilor Pauline Cormier?
I agree.
Okay, you've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Legal Affairs Committee to grant 9-26 further time and to continue the public hearing until November 10th at 6 PM. Any further discussion? Councilor Frida?
Through the chair to the legal affairs chair, have you thought of having the attorney here too?
Absolutely.
He's at the planning board, so he should be here as well.
Absolutely.
Saying the same
Yeah,
thing.
He knows.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
All right, anything else? All right, all those in favor, the recommendation? All right, so 9:26 has been given further time with a public hearing on November 10th at 6 PM. Moving on to 16-26.
16-26, Mark C. Bodanza, Ward 4 Counselor. Request to amend Section 13-77, stop signs of the Leominster Municipal Code by adding a stop sign for eastbound traffic on Gevry. Is that right, Gevry or Jevry?
Cheevery.
Jevry? Okay, Jevry Circle. I say it and I think,
Amen,
I'm not
amen.
sure, that's right, Jevry Circle. Okay, thank you. At the intersection of Gordon Street. We had a public hearing earlier this evening. We did get a recommendation back from the Leominster Police Department that I can read into the record. This was to the city clerk. On behalf of the police department, we are not opposed to it. We have no relevant accident data for either street to provide, aside from a TT unit that took down wires a couple years ago. And this was respectfully sent by Captain John Frere. So with the positive recommendation from the police department, my recommendation would be to grant 16-26.
Thank you, Councilor Tossi.
I agree.
And Councilor Pauline Cormier.
I agree.
You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Legal Affairs Committee to grant 16-26. Is there any additional discussion? Counselor Frida?
I just think it's funny when they say they're not opposed, but instead of saying they support, they say not opposed.
Cautious. All right, anything additional? All those in favor, please recognize your usual manner. All right, 16, actually, this should be by roll call vote, right, because it's an ordinance. Counselor David Cormier?
Yay.
Counselor Pauline Cormier?
Yay.
Counselor Odger?
Yay.
Counselor Noseworthy?
Yay.
Counselor Tossi?
Yay.
Counselor Shalfo Zephyr?
Yay.
Counselor Robbins?
Yay.
And Counselor Frida?
Yeah.
All right, 16-26 is granted by a vote of 9-0. Moving on to 15-26.
15-26, Elizabeth Wood, Director of Planning and Development, on behalf of Planning Board. Request to amend the zoning ordinance pertaining to battery energy storage systems. So we had continued the public hearing, City Council, to November 10th, 2025 at 6:25 p.m. However, given information which was just recently shared, we should probably bump that out since the Planning Board had it scheduled, I think, for December 1st.
Correct.
Yep.
All right. So our first, our only December meeting is December 8th, if I'm not mistaken. So your recommendation would be to give this further time.
Further time and to continue the public hearing to December 8th.
All right. And do you have a time? Particularly, I don't think we have anything scheduled so far that night.
6:30?
Okay. All right, and I'll check with Counselor Tossi.
I agree.
Counselor Pauline Cormier.
I agree.
You heard the recommendation of the Legal Affairs Committee to grant 15-26 further time and continue the public hearing until December 8th at 6:30 p.m. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that, please recognize your usual manner. All right, so 15-26 has been given further time to continue public hearing on December 8th at 6:30. Moving on to public service, Counselor Robbins. you ready
Mr.
to-
President, as usual, I need to abstain. This is partially owned by my employer.
Okay, note your abstention. Counselor Robbins?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Petition 19-26, Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. requests permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way. Ellen Street, National Grid to install one jointly owned pole on Ellen Street beginning at a point approximately 10 feet westerly of the center line of the intersection of Liberty Street and continuing approximately 15 feet in a westerly direction. National Grid is installing a push brace behind pole 5. Push brace will support pole after tree guy removal, Ellen Street, Leominster, Mass. Location approximately as shown on plan attached. This was given regular course at our last meeting, and we have a public hearing scheduled for November 10th. So with that being said, I would ask that we give this further time.
Okay, I don't see a time on the, is it 6:20? And what did we say about 9:26?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. You can push it back if we have to, yeah. All right, so Counselor Frida
I agree.
and Counselor Noseworthy?
I agree.
You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Public Service Committee to grant 19-26 further time. Any additional discussion? See none, all those in favor, please recognize your usual manner. All right, by a vote of 8-0 with Counselor David Cormier abstaining, 19-26 has been given further time. Anybody have any other additional business? Counselor Frida?
Probably that we forgot this in the beginning of the meeting, but we should probably have done a moment of silence for Councilor Rosa.
Not too late to do it now.
No, it's not.
All right, that's a great suggestion. At this point, then, I would declare a moment of silence. Okay, thank you, Councilor Frida. Anybody have anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Seconded, Councilor Robbins. All those in favor? We are adjourned.
Nice.
I don't know what to do with all this extra time in my evening.
Feel so weak, don't you?
Early today.
Had to been redone anyway.